Yes, y'all. It's your boy C Money, and I'm back with a new podcast, y'all. What's good, everybody? It's your boy C Money, and I'm here with a new podcast. That's right. This is the Victorious Podcast. Sports, pop culture, hip hop, whatever I can think of. That's what's going on with this pod. And I'm here to deliver you some new news for 2019, y'all. Today, I'm going to go over a few things. This past weekend was a big day for NBA free agency. This weekend also started the G1 Climax tournament for New Japan Wrestling. And yes, I will be going over first day, A block, 5 matches, what happened, and then we'll jump into some NBA news. First off, I want to let y'all know I'm back. We're going to do some new podcasts. I'm going to try to bang these out at least once a week. Going to have some special guests on here, depending on what the situation is. I'm a big Lakers fan. There's a lot going on with the Lakers this past weekend since they didn't get Kawhi Leonard. But let's jump into this G1 tournament, shall we? So, today was day 1 of the G1 tournament for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And we had 5 matches for the A block group that had started to kick it off today in Dallas, Texas, in American Airlines Arena. The first match out of the A block group was Lance Archer versus Will Ospreay. Now, Lance Archer hasn't been in New Japan Wrestling in, I believe, 5 years. Well, that was the last time he was in the G1 at least, and he had actually finished second in the B block the last time he was in the G1 5 years ago. Lance Archer came out looking like a stone cold badass, okay? Lance had this, like, mohawk, a black mohawk, and then at the top of it was dyed red, okay? And it ended at his, like, the back of his neck, but then had a long ponytail that went down halfway down his back that was red. It looked pretty cool. He kind of looked like Bass from Mega Man, if I could kind of compare it to anything. It looked so badass. But Lance had came out first, and then Will Ospreay came out. As Will Ospreay came out, probably one of the best Super Juniors that we've seen in the last 2 years, probably, next to Zack Sabre Jr., but Will Ospreay came out and slid into the ring underneath the bottom of the rope and hit Lance Archer with a Spanish fly, like right off the bat before the bell could even ring. Bell rings. Lance rolls out of the ring. Will goes for a somersault over the top rope and lands on Lance, but Lance catches him by the throat, okay? Picks him up and then choke slams him through the table on the other side of the guardrail in front of a row of fans, which was fantastic. Lance Archer takes the win in this first match over Will Ospreay. He did some crazy new moves. He hit us with this crazy like knee to the chest from the turnbuckle. He catwalked the ropes halfway across the ring. Okay, halfway across the ring. This guy's like 6'11", all right? No big man really goes around and does that, and his balance was phenomenal. But he finally finishes off Will Ospreay with a front-facing powerbomb from the top rope, followed by the claw. Shout out to Kerry Von Erich and the Von Erich family in Texas. He hit Will Ospreay with that and pinned him with the 1-2-3. And the first 2 points of this tournament goes to Lance Archer. The second match was Bad Luck Fale versus Evil. Good, hard-hitting match. Super heavyweights battling it out. It was really a power versus power match, but Bad Luck Fale wins with the Bad Luck Fall. The third match of this G1 Climax tournament, and dang, I mean, really from the third, fourth, and fifth matches were so good. I mean, Lance Archer and Will Ospreay was, I don't know, you could go A1, AB with that match and the Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sonata match as my 2 favorites of this evening for the G1 Climax tournament, because they were just so good. Now, you have more of like power versus speed in the Lance Archer versus Will Ospreay match, but in this Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sonata match, it was like all technical, and it was beautiful. A lot of technical counters, but Sonata eventually won with a bridge over pin over Zack Sabre Jr., and he clutches his first 2 points of this A block tournament. I mean, this A block in the A block for the G1 tournament. The third match, which was also really good, was the returning Kenta. Yes, Kenta, a.k.a. Hideo Itami in WWE, after 5 years has returned back also. And he came back at the last show and said, hey, I want in on this G1 tournament, and this is when I'm making my return against Kota Ibushi. And it was a tough, spirited match. If I could put it in a category like how you have a technical match in the previous match and then the Will Ospreay and Lance Archer match where it was speed versus power, it was just a strong style classic match. Heavy hitting, hard hitting. You see both finishers from both guys, and it was just a mat classic. Kenta gets the win via the go to sleep, which he was known and made famous. And he gets his first 2 points and his return to New Japan and in the G1 tournament. The last and final match for the evening, main event, was Okada versus Tanahashi. And as they're coming out, the crowd goes crazy because this is the first time that they're even fighting in U.S. And I believe it was Kevin Kelly who had stated, this is the greatest rivalry in sports. And Rocky Romero, who was the, I believe, color guy, Rocky Romero compared it to the Lakers versus the Celtics, or even Ali versus Frazier, the rivalry between Kazuchika Okada and Tanahashi. Also, another strong style match. It had technicalities in it. I mean, it was just so good. I mean, whenever you put Okada and Tana in a match together, it's A1 every single time. Your winner via a jumping tombstone followed by the Rainmaker is, yes, Kazuchika Okada. And he gains his first 2 points in this G1 tournament. At the end of the show, Okada had got on the microphone, thanked everybody for coming to the show, asked them if they thought the show was good, and just letting everyone know that this is where the G1 had started in the States, and this isn't the last time that they're going to be in the States for the G1. He also claimed that he's going to win the G1 tournament. And you know how this goes. This G1 tournament is similar to Royal Rumble in terms of the winner gets to choose who he fights at the main event at their Super Show. So either at WrestleMania via the Royal Rumble, or when you have the G1 tournament for New Japan, the winner of that gets to fight the champion at the Wrestle Kingdom. I believe it's going to be Wrestle Kingdom 14 in January. I can't wait for that. Following that, we go into the NBA. Actually, before that, let's shout out the United States women's national soccer team holding it down 2-0 over the Netherlands, I believe receiving their 4th World Cup. Shout out to you ladies. We're all proud of you. I hope you're proud of yourselves. You should be so happy. You held it down for the States and for the country, and we're going to run this back again in the next World Cup. Unlike the women, the men were also in a tournament. The United States national men's soccer team were in the Gold Cup versus Mexico, and the U.S. took a crucial L, 1-0 to Mexico. I mean, I'm a little biased in terms of like rooting for the States, and I feel like the referees didn't make certain calls that they could have made. I think it was kind of bullshit in terms of there were some calls that they could have made and they didn't. They were just playing really dirty, I think Mexico was, but they pulled it off 1-0. I believe Parizo was the one who scored the goal, or it was Jimenez, but it wasn't from a penalty kick. I mean, they earned the goal, so you got to take it as it is, I suppose. Next time, hopefully, the guys will hold it down like the girls do. Moving on to NBA news. This past week in the NBA was free agency, started July 1st. And it was a big one. Everybody signed 2 4-year contracts real fast. Over $1 billion was already given out and contracted for the players that got signed in the first 4 hours of free agency, which is incredible. Cap went up for all the teams, which is lovely. So, players get to earn a little more money. There were 3 big fish. I mean, really 2. But, I'm going to count Kyrie as a big fish because I honestly think he's not in the same tier as a Kawhi Leonard, not in the same tier as a Kevin Durant, but he's right underneath them in a second tier, followed by a third tier of Kemba Walker, and then whoever else after that, really. So everybody was trying to figure out what Kawhi Leonard was going to do, where he was going to go, who he was going to sign with, and he had meetings with the Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Clippers. The New York Knicks declined a meeting with Kawhi Leonard because they didn't think they were in the running for it, and they decided to shop for other free agents. I don't believe Kawhi took a meeting with Brooklyn, who also had cap space. And, of course, he had a meeting with the Toronto Raptors, the reigning champions that he won with. Now, we had just recently heard news that Kawhi had signed with the Clippers, and when he signed with the Clippers, he didn't go alone. Kawhi had been making moves this past week, taking his time, trying to figure out where he was going to go, but he knew he wasn't going to go to a team like the Clippers. He wasn't going to go to a team like the Knicks alone. He planned on going with another star. Now, I think in his mind, he knew he was going to go back home. He's from San Diego, from SoCal, and I think he knew he wanted to play in Los Angeles. Now, Kawhi is known as a very quiet guy, not very media-friendly, tries to stay away from that, and he was making moves on his own. We had just recently found out that he had made a call to Kevin Durant and said, "Hey, Kevin, I really admire your game. I know you don't know me like that. I know we are not friends like that, but I would love to play with you in Los Angeles." Kevin, I believe, had already had the mindset of him and Kyrie already going to Brooklyn, so he said, "Thank you. I can't believe you think of me this way." And Kawhi said he admired KD, but he had already had his mindset of going to Brooklyn with Kyrie Irving and trying to get a chip over there. As Kawhi takes meetings in LA for the Lakers, he also hits up Paul George, aka PG-13, who is currently the shooting forward, small forward on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Recently just had shoulder surgery. And he said, "Hey, PG, I know you've been trying to play in LA. You're from LA. I would love for you to come and play with me if I go to the Clippers." Paul George had called up the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he asked them for a trade. He said, "This is where I want to go. Let's see what you can do." Oklahoma said, "Okay, we'll check it out." They knew that the Clippers were willing to give up almost anything to get Kawhi. They didn't know they were going to get a package deal because at the time, I believe, Paul George wasn't even up for any trade or anything like that. No one even thought about it. So Kawhi had made his own moves. He got Paul George over to the Clippers, and now Kawhi Leonard will be playing in the Los Angeles Clippers this coming NBA season. And honestly, I'm excited. I'm a little disappointed. I am a Los Angeles Lakers fan. I did want to see him run with LeBron and AD and just take over the West. But you know what? Big Three era is done. Over. Finished. Finito. And I'm glad. You know why? This levels the playing field for everybody. The Utah Jazz got better. The Denver Nuggets are very good. You still have the Houston Rockets with Paul George and James Harden. Up north, you got the Portland Trailblazers, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. You got AD and LeBron and sharing the same building with Kawhi and PG. Let's not forget about the East. You still have Giannis. They re-signed Chris Middleton. Going down a little further, or over east, I should say. You got Boston. The Celtics got Kemba Walker. Jason Tatum's still there. They're going to be running things. Going down a little south, right underneath them, you got the the Brooklyn Nets. And they just got Kyrie Irving. They just signed KD. KD, of course, isn't going to be playing next coming season. He'll be back in 2 years because of a torn Achilles. But still, that's a heavy hitter. Going down a little further, why don't we? You got the 76ers, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons. They re-signed Tobias Harris. Let's keep going down, shall we? You have upcoming teams in Atlanta, in Miami, who signed Jimmy Butler to a 4-year deal. You also have Indiana when Victor Oladipo comes back from his ACL tear. I mean, the NBA playing field is going to be fantastic. Now, I think the downside to this is, and I was thinking about it last year when LeBron went to the Lakers, is I'm here on the East Coast. I'm in Maryland, the DMV, right outside of DC and Virginia, and it's tough having to watch West Coast games on the East Coast, because our games over here are starting at 7:30, 8 o'clock, don't end till 10:30, and then you have 10:30 to like 1:30 in the morning, assuming games don't even go into overtime. You know what I'm saying? I think that was really the only downside of LeBron moving over to the West, and now you got Kawhi also over there, took away from Toronto. Toronto may still be contenders. I personally don't think they will be. I honestly think it's going to be between maybe Philly and Milwaukee for the Eastern Conference champions going into the finals. The West is a coin toss of 8 different teams, 10 different teams. But it levels out the playing field for everybody, and I'm glad we're back to what the NBA used to be. NBA used to be when I was growing up, where it was 1 or 2 players carrying a team. You didn't have these super teams from like the Boston Celtics, the Miami Heat, organically, minus when they signed Kevin Durant, the Golden State Warriors. So, I mean, level playing field for everybody. Before I wrap up, I want to go ahead and just finish y'all off with some news that came out today. The Los Angeles Lakers have officially moved LeBron over to point guard. He did give his 23 number jersey to AD yesterday. So LeBron will be going back to number 6, his Olympic number. The Oklahoma City Thunder had made a trade earlier in the day and now have a 6th first-round pick. And they're on a crucial rebuilding mode, and they're open to calls right now for Russell Westbrook, who I honestly think got screwed over in all of this. Russell Westbrook didn't see any of this coming, you know what I'm saying? And now he's looking around like, who do I have to play with? I'm in this Western Conference, and I have no help, and the competition is deep. So he's asking for a trade. I honestly think the only people that are up for a trade can either be maybe Washington, if you send John Wall, if they're willing to take John Wall's contract, and Bradley Beal. Maybe the Knicks, because they still have 2 max slots. They have nothing to give. They have nothing to give, but they have 2 max slots. So I mean, that may be something better than nothing, but I don't know. I personally don't want to see Russell in the West. I hope he moves to the East, but I want him to move to a team, maybe Miami. But I don't think Miami has the money nor the assets to give up to complement Jimmy Butler with Russell Westbrook. Also, Jabari Parker signs with the Hawks. KD has switched his number from 35 to number 7 when he's starting to play with the Nets. So the NBA, there's some things going around. Still, Summer League is looking good. I was watching the Knicks and the Bulls the other night, and I love Kobe White. Big fan of Kobe White. Excited to see him. Since LeBron is moving to point guard, this is the Lakers' potential starting lineup. You got Bron at your point. You got Danny Green at your shooting guard. You got Kuzma as your small forward. You got AD as your power forward and Boogie Cousins as your center. Not shabby. Not too shabby at all. Going back to Russ, again, the Thunder are receptive to calls and saying who can offer what. I don't know how much is gonna get done, but we shall see. The Lakers are still trying to fill out their roster. Hopefully they can get Andre Iguodala. Shout out to Andre Iguodala. The Golden State Warriors will be retiring his jersey and KD's jersey this coming year. So shout out to Andre and KD. Let's see. Anything else? I do believe that is it, folks. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, the Thunder trade Jeremiah Grant to the Nuggets, and they get another pick. I think I said that earlier, but that's what they traded. Who they traded for that pick. The Grizzlies traded for relief of cap space, and they got Dwight Howard, but I think they plan on releasing Dwight. Other than that, let's see what happens to the rest of the summer league. There's still moves to be made for teams. Teams are still signing guys, so this isn't over. Right now, what's shaken is Oklahoma City Thunder are open to calls, and there may be, what I hear on the Twitter machine, a Russell Westbrook James Harden reunion. Now, I don't know if that involves trading Chris Paul. I don't know if that what that involves, but that's what everyone's talking about. So that's a possible move, and that could cause another big three, assuming they don't have to give up Chris Paul. Chris Paul's getting a little older. He did get hurt last year, and I think that's the reason what caused them from not going to the finals last year is him getting hurt, and James Harden just couldn't do it by himself. But I appreciate everybody. I'm going to get back to y'all when I find out more news. When another, I think, week before the B block matches start for the G1 Climax tournament. And that's going to be a hell of a tournament. I mean, God, all the guys in there are fantastic. But again, I'm going to go ahead and end this now. You can go ahead and find me on Twitter at IGotDMVSoul. You can find me on Twitch streaming games and talking trash. Twitch, you can find me, Mr. July 4. And for any sports breaking news, you can find me on Instagram, cmoney.exe. I thank y'all for listening. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, everybody.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.